What's up, folks? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Autotempest.com, which is where you will find your next dream car. Autotempest.com makes searching for your next car so easy. You don't have to spend any time at all going to individual car sites like Cars.com, TrueCar, or Carvana. They bring all those listings together, plus they even link you to Facebook Marketplace and nationwide Craigslist results. They now offer search alerts. So all you have to do is you sign up to receive emails when new listings that match your search show up. This is a good one because they're really tough to find cars. You might want to jump on that. You might want to not have to all the time go back in proactively. And you could say, Auto Tempest, just tell me when someone lists an E46 M3 or whatever. Auto Tempest is really, really sweet. It's designed, and I can relate to this, it's designed to save you time, and saving you time saves you money. There's a lot of people that want to save money, but they're willing to waste a lot of time in order to save money, and they don't realize that you actually are wasting money by wasting time. That's why the convenience of Autotempest.com is exactly how you are going to save $1 on your next dream car purchase. You get all the cars with one search. All you have to do is go to Autotempest.com/TST so you know that we sent you. That's Autotempest.com/TST. We also brought to you today by the Blackvue Dash Cam series and the new DR900X Plus. You should never compromise when it comes to protecting your car, and now we are introducing the Blackvue DR900X Plus series dash cam. The Plus model has a new and improved 4K ultra high resolution front camera and a newer Sony Starvis sensor on the rear camera, so you can be sure you will capture all the important details both during the day and the night. They sent us one of these Blackvue dash cameras, and it is awesome. The picture quality is so great, front and rear, and it gives me the peace of mind that my car, day or night, is always protected. Whether it's from thievery, attempted fraud, or just needing someone to believe you when your side of the story, if you get into an accident, is right, having that dash cam is really, really good for a variety of situations. And with the new seamless pairing feature, connecting with the Blackvue app, transferring videos, and setting up your dash cam for the cloud connectivity, it's easier than ever. What about when you're away from your car? Well, with built-in voltage monitoring, you can leave your car protected by Blackvue's parking mode without fear of draining your car's battery. Thanks to the optional LTE connectivity module, the Blackvue DR900X Plus series dash cam keeps you always connected to your car from anywhere, even if you've got an old car. That means you can receive impact notifications on your mobile phone, check on your car with remote live view, pull up those cameras, and rest easy knowing that live event upload saves impact footage in real time to the cloud, including a 5-second pre-impact buffer. So if your car gets hit while it's parked, you'll have that video for your insurance company later. The new mobile hotspot function allows you to turn your LTE connected dash cam into a Wi-Fi hotspot for up to 5 devices. So that's extra cool if you're on a road trip and you need your people to be able to use their computers in the back seat or whatever. DR900X Plus model comes with an optional rear camera, which you can get now or add later on. You can go to Blackvue.com/TST. That's BLACKVUE, Blackvue.com/TST, and then use the promo code TIRE to get 10% off any Blackvue dash cam, plus free shipping for any order over $200. So Blackvue.com/TST, coupon code TIRE gets you 10% off any Blackvue dash cam with free shipping for orders over $200. And of course, we're brought to you again by Hellofresh. I love Hellofresh. Why? Because you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. You can skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Look, here's the thing. You don't want a service that sends you pre-made food. You think you do, but you don't. It's like eating leftovers all the time. That's why HelloFresh rules. They make it so you're cooking at home with fresh ingredients, but you don't have to think about the shopping. You don't have to waste time doing the shopping. You don't have to waste food and spices by buying more than you need just to cover your recipes, needs, right? And there's some spices that really work awesome in certain recipes, but you don't need to spend $10 or $12 on a spice for one recipe. It really messes up your finances. Right? With HelloFresh, they offer 50 menu items and market items to choose from each week, from vegetarian meals and calorie smart choices to extra special gourmet options. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Recipes designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. And basically, when they send you these pre-measured ingredients, you just dump the whole thing in the recipe. You know how much to use, and there's not extras, so there's not extra waste, and you're not going to go through your spice cabinet or your fridge in 2 weeks and find a bunch of expired food that you didn't use because you had to buy more than you needed. It's better value. HelloFresh is over 30% cheaper than shopping at grocery stores with pre-portioned ingredients that ensure you won't spend money on excess food that ends up going in the trash. They've got flexibility. You can easily customize your order on the app within minutes, change your delivery day, your food preferences, plan size, or skip a week whenever you need to. If you're going out of town, skip the week, right? I really liked HelloFresh. I made about 2 weeks worth of their food. It was really delicious. And I kept the recipe cards, so if I wanted to make those recipes later for my friends or for parties or something, I've got those recipes forever. And it got me out of my cooking comfort zone. Even if you like to cook, odds are you're going to end up making like the same 5 or 10 things over and over because you know how to do it. You don't have to think about it. It's easy. But this keeps you eating variety, and that's good. So go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire14 and then use code SmokingTire14 at checkout for up to 14 meals, including free shipping. So you get that? HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire14 and then use code SmokingTire14 for up to 14 free meals, including free shipping, right? 14 free meals, Smoking Tire 14. Got it? All right. HelloFresh tagline is, it's America's #1 meal kit, and that is for a reason. All right, folks, and if you don't want to hear me read those ads, you can join our Patreon. You don't never have to listen to me read ads ever again. Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast is how you get an ad-free listening experience. You don't have to wait for the Tuesday, Thursday schedule. You get shows right away. And you can ask your questions during our live broadcasts of our guests. That's all available at patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. All right, folks, on this episode of the show, it's a crew show. Zach and I are in the studio recounting our travels. We have been testing a heavily modified and very fast DeLorean. We've been driving the 25th anniversary Boxster. We've been driving the 2-door Defender on an off-road adventure. We talk about the comparisons between the Defender and the new Bronco Raptor that they've announced. And I also spend, for some reason, time reminiscing about cigarettes. They're horrible for you. You shouldn't smoke them. You smell gross. But man, did I feel cool when I was smoking them. It's Zach and I doing a crew show on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Patreon people, I guess they don't like the daytime shows. There's like 9 people on the fucking stream. That's all good.
That's okay. They can
it's all
listen
good.
to it
Patreon people
later.
The pro drivers will be able to listen to this shit right after it's done anyway.
Exactly.
No waiting.
Everybody else next week. It'll be, I think, next Thursday.
All right. Well, since we're here, we might as well do a show.
Cool.
Turns out, since we happen to be sitting in the studio with the stream running, we might as well do a show.
That's like a G-rated porn where it's just like, oh, wow. Oh, we're here with these microphones. I guess we should just talk.
Since this pizza delivery man has just arrived,
he opened the box and there's a microphone
in my underwear, we should do a show. Hey, people. What's happening? I've had 1/3 of a cup of caffeine after my... I've experienced the thing that Zach was talking about to me. I don't know if it was even on the show. I think it was not on the show. I think it was in the car. We were talking about cortisol and how that works. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like your wake-up hormone or whatever, your wake-up
Yeah. It's a stress hormone, but it's what helps rouse you from sleep.
Right. So, like, turns out I don't need caffeine, nor should I have caffeine first thing in the morning. So I got my decaf routine going on. But then at like 10:30, 10:45 a.m., I'm getting tired.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
So that's normal. That's how the body works.
I think so.
Okay.
You hit it 2 hours later. From what I've read, it's like coffee's best timed.
So I had
a
third of a cup of caffeinated coffee, and I've stopped. I didn't yawn after that. So that's good. I think maybe that's a strategy.
Yeah, I feel like I treat it more like marijuana, actually, like a little bit, as much as is needed, not like as much as I can put in me, and then let the body sort it out.
Well, the problem with smoking weed was that I really liked smoking weed.
Right.
Not even like I really like being high. I really liked actually smoke, because I remember I used to smoke a lot of cigarettes.
Of course.
And
the action.
And God, did I love cigarettes. I still like, if I could go back to cigarettes without getting like sick, like I loved cigarettes so much.
I love the action of smoking just because that's how marketing works when we're 5. Remember bubblegum cigarettes? When they were legal for like a week?
Well, because like I need something to do with my hands. Mm-hmm. I also need something to do for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I also need a reason. I mean, I don't anymore, but for a long time, chew on stuff. Mm-hmm. You ever see me, like if I wear a hoodie like you're wearing, I chew on the strings. I'm always chewing on the strings until I actually... Like if I had that hoodie, I would remove that string so that I couldn't chew on it. My long sleeve shirts, I chew on the sleeves. Just like I chew on shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And back in the day when I would meet women at the bar, I would look for any reason to go outside the loud bar and have a conversation. Cigarette was like a perfect excuse for that.
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm doing a commercial for cigarettes.
I mean, that's. I mean, you're not doing a commercial for cigarettes.
I even looked cool.
That's why you liked it.
I even looked cool.
We all thought we would look cool because
I did look cool
because the culture of movies and everything, like James Bond, everyone in the '60s would smoke a cigarette before and after doing anything cool.
Well, because how do you look cool breathing?
Right.
You know,
it's
like
an independent
breathing.
Activity.
Yeah, it's a forced pause from conversation.
Right.
It's like I'm thinking about this.
Right. Han, instead of chips, would have used cigarettes, but different era, perhaps.
They wouldn't allow that in the
Brad
fucking
Pitt,
F&F.
same thing.
I don't think anybody smokes cigarettes in the F&F multiverse, except like the
right.
bad Yakuza guys in like Tokyo Drift.
Right.
Yeah, like criminal. A cool criminal's always smoking cigarettes.
I wonder if Han smoked in Fast and Furious.
No, Han never did. Han was always eating chips. I can text Sung if we want, but Han's was always eating chips in Fast and Furious.
It's always it's the bad guys now that smoke cigarettes.
But when I quit smoking cigarettes and just increased my weed intake, it was partially just because I really liked the smoking part of it, and the vaping part of it really allowed me to like take that show on the road with me, not realizing what was happening.
I mean, you could just do it all the time.
Yeah,
like it's not like you didn't smoke cigarettes when we were on the road, of course.
No. Yeah, of course. But I mean, when I quit smoking cigarettes, I wasn't just going to roll around smoking huge cones everywhere.
Right.
That gets expensive. But then when you have a weed sponsor, so. But yeah, I miss cigarettes. I loved cigarettes. Such a fucking shame that cigarettes are so bad for you.
Right. I still think they look cool. When I see that in movies, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And my brain goes, no, it isn't.
Dude, in Connecticut last weekend when I was there hanging out with my old high school friends and some of my post-college friends, dude, they're all hitting nicotine vapes. All of them.
Yeah, aggressively.
They're all fucking ripping Juuls and whatever. And one of them, who's like an engineer, had one of them big vape boxes with the fucking dial-a-cloud.
Right. Well, he likes to modify things,
You set that shit to cumulus.
He probably designed his own flange
like
inside or something like that. It's so ridiculous.
Bro, mine runs at like 7 watts.
Yeah, I like 7.1 personally.
What does that mean?
Remember Robbie, the detail used to do that. He had the screen on the side.
He had the big box.
That would show you power levels for whatever reason.
It was like that horsepower and torque curve.
Yeah, it's a dyno sheet you could carry around.
You've seen we talked about the cloud blowing competitions, right?
Which I think was I think it was like an advertisement for vaping. It was like, we're having a smoke competition. It was like trying to get people into buying more cartridges, hitting more.
Sponsored by VapeBoxMods.com.
Right.
Do you know that I just learned that flavored vape juice is now basically illegal in New York?
Whoa.
New York has some of the most strict smoking rules, they were the first to go, you know what, cigarettes are going to be $15 a pack. Whereas like here in California, they're still like $6 or whatever. And you think about California as being so anti-smoking, but New York is actually far worse.
Wow.
And they've outlawed flavored vape juice, which is interesting.
I think it's because they realized it was directly aimed at children.
Well, and they didn't really outlaw it. I shouldn't say they outlawed it because they didn't. What they did was sort of like a shadow ban, sort of like the Texas abortion thing, where they don't outlaw it, but they made it like it takes like to get approval for a flavor, right? There's $1 million application fee. And you're not guaranteed of getting it. It costs $1 million to apply to make vanilla, and you have to apply. And by the way, this is just what my super vape friend told me. I didn't read the law, so if I'm a little off on this, I'm sorry. But this is what my heavy vape user friend told me. You have to apply at each different level. So if there's like the 2 milligram, 5 milligrams, it's $1 million per flavor, per level.
Right.
So basically what the law did was kick anybody who isn't like Philip Morris out of there. And so anyone who's like a giant corporation is like, oh, pay the cost to be the boss. And all the small companies went just dead.
Interesting. So
it was interesting.
The glass half full is like, oh, it's getting these flavors out of our children's hands, and then the half empty is like it's hurting small business.
Right. Yeah. Unless it's the people who have been like selling, cigarettes and saying they're not bad for you for like 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, bottom line, I really miss cigarettes because I could have done something with my face and mouth and hands that wasn't fucking giving me anxiety.
Right.
God damn it.
I just think it's funny, like if you think back to Die Hard, when he didn't have shoes like for most of the movie and he's running around finding guns, but he would always find cigarettes on the guys, and that was his focus. It's like, that's how addictive they are. Like you're being shot at and you're running barefoot and you're like, no, I need this fucking I need this fix.
Yeah. I can relate to that. If it came down in 2016, if it came down to cigarettes or shoes and I was out of cigarettes, you bet your ass which I'm looking for first. You know what I mean? Speaking of shoes, I finally did hear back from the New Balance people. I bugged the New Balance people, the head of PR for New Balance. I was like, please just sell me the fun colors. That's all I want. All I want is to buy the 993s in the good colors. And the good colors are on the shelf in the stores. They're there.
Can you explain to the people what you're talking about? Because they sell good colors.
Here's New Balances are for people with wide feet. Now, they used to only be for people with wide feet, and now they're for all kinds of people, right? And New Balance, a popular shoe, a lot of their styles are made in America, right? And it's a very high quality shoe. And if you have feet problems or knee problems, and you don't need to, let's just face it, look all that cool, you buy fucking New Balances, right? It's a really high quality shoe. The 993 and the 990 are perhaps like that one right there.
The Porsches?
No. The New Balance. See New Balance made in US 990 V5 on the screen there?
Yeah.
That's a model of New Balance. Is a 990 and a 993. I'm wearing the 993 right now in what I would call divorced dad blue. This is the divorced, I'll move it to the frame. This is the divorced dad blue. And the 990 also, right? Oh, there we go. So that right there, that's Grandpa Gray.
Yeah.
Right? That's the typical Grandpa Gray, divorced dad blue, umpire black. These are your three, right?
Umpire black.
Or you could call conversely, you could go beat cop black. You know what I mean? Traffic cop black. If
valet
you want
black.
To. Valet Parker black. So for years, they had the NB1 custom shop, which is where they had an online configurator, and you could literally configure a custom pair of these shoes. And they only cost like $15 more than like regular price. And these are like, for sneakers, they're pretty expensive.
That was $185.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Umpire black.
They are expensive. And I don't buy them to look cool. I buy them because I got shitty feet and shitty knees, and they make my life better. And I buy them and I wear them until they are fucking no longer wearable. I wear them for everything, right? And they had the MB1 custom shop, so I can make these crazy designs. I would do sports team themed shoes. I would do racing livery themed shoes. These wild, fun combos, and like that was how I made New Balances seem cool. They closed the shop. Pandemic. Okay, I get it. Can't have them all working on top of each other making custom shoes. But now, yes, there's still supply chain issues. Yes, pandemic is still a thing. But like most people are back to work, right? And so if you go to the New Balance store or if you go to New Balance's website, you can buy the 990 and the 993 in a bunch of awesome colors. Like they have fun, like wild, extroverted color, oranges and blues and shit that like fades from one color to the other. Like the kind of shit I would have made, right? Except they won't sell them in the widths, a 2E. They only sell them in the regular sizes. So I wrote to the head of PR, which you could get her email off of the website if you dig deep enough. And I said, please, I need you to understand that my annual budget for New Balances is more than all my other clothing put together. I spend more every year just on New Balance sneakers than I do on every other thing I wear combined.
That's true.
Which is 100% true. Mm-hmm. And she eventually wrote me back and thanked me for my passionate email and basically said, we're sorry the NB1 shop is closed, supply chain issues. We hope to eventually open it up again. In the meantime, here are some colorful New Balances that come in widths. And it was the 570 series, which is what you think of if you think of the old school New Balance. Look up the New Balance 574. That's like old school. Like think like Nike Cortez, old school. It's like it's a real casual shoe. Yeah, see, that's it. That's a 574. So it's a fine shoe. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you look at the technical construction of this shoe compared to the technical construction
Is it made the way it was made in the 70s?
Pretty much.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
this is when they were just coming out of the wood
era. It's OG, right? It's OG. And if you put on a pair of, like, I don't want to say Chuck Taylors, but if you put on a pair of, like, Air Max 95s, it's not the same as putting on a new pair of Jordans, you know, or a new pair of modern construction shoes in terms of support and shit like that.
Of course.
So
you ever see the original Nike running shoe?
Yeah, the Cortez. That's what I'm talking about, the Forrest Gump shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically burlap. I mean, it's real thin.
Exactly.
And then they figured out how feet work.
And people still buy the Nike Cortez to wear as like a style statement, right? Like they still make like the original Samba, basically, right?
Yes.
They make Chuck Taylors still. You know what I mean? Like, but she was nice to get back to me, and she did offer some other options, but I pretty much said, you know as well as I do that the 574 is not the 993. Like, it's just not.
It's like a 912 versus a 911.
Yeah.
So it's like we're out of 911s. We have this lovely 912.
Well, it's like you
listen.
saying, you know, why did you stop selling the 992 GT3 in paint to sample? You're only selling it in gray, black, and blue. And they go, can I interest you in a 1987 Carrera in any color you want? And you're like, but that's not the same thing. It has the same badge on it, but that's about it.
It's a consolation prize.
Yeah.
We have some lovely parting gifts for you.
So I'm just saying, New Balance, recognize that fat schlubs like me with bad knees and bad feet are your core demo.
Oh, I mean, they know that. They have the data. We have data and everything. So they know that you guys need
We keep
these
that
shoes.
shit running.
Right. You
Literally.
keep the doors open.
Yeah.
You keep the Learjet flying. But I think that highlights that supply chains really are a problem.
Yeah.
They're not doing this for fun or just to take a break. You know, they want you to take the money out of your fanny pack and give it to them.
I hope they do.
They do.
I hope they do. God damn it.
But they just can't right now.
So anyway, cars.
They have some lovely cargo shorts they'll send you.
That's my non-car content for the day. Let's see. Yesterday we went out to Temecula and drove this batshit DeLorean.
Dude.
There's a guy named Nick who goes by Lamborghini on Instagram. He has, let's just say, some disposable income and the right priorities. And he, he has the customer, the patron, if you will, and a guy named Steve Maxwell with the engineering expertise, managed to pretty much unshitbox the DeLorean. Like, pretty much. Like, they got almost all the way to fully unshitboxing, as far as like one could actually go.
Well, and let's provide context. Like, you know, the guy got internet famous recently because they put a Kia Stinger engine in the back of the DeLorean.
Correct.
But this was not just about power and speed. Like,
Well, it shouldn't be, because the power and speed is not the DeLorean's problem.
not the only problem. It's definitely
one
one of the
problem,
problems.
but
Right,
it's
right.
not the biggest problem.
I just wanted to clarify.
Because adding power to anything is the simplest thing that one could do.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the DeLoreans are many, many things. The Y-frame chassis is garbage, so they reinforced it. They boxed the A-arms. They put subframe connectors. They reinforced various aspects of the steel. They made a new oil pan and cut chassis to work around it with reinforcements. The DeLorean has like shitty brakes. And because of the weird wheels that come with the stock car, which are 14s in the front and 15s in the back, there's basically no way to get good brakes. But what they did figure out is that you could run rear wheels on all four corners like you do with the M3, which allowed them to fit Ferrari 348 Challenge brakes. That really changed the game. Also, somebody in Germany has convinced KW to make coilovers for the DeLorean. So they actually have a KW coilover on this.
Wow.
Then you can't adjust the camber with that setup, but they did something.
They did something because the rear camber looks like a Mini Cooper.
It's running a 1 degree of negative camber all around on R888 tires. So it's a fixed camber. It's not adjustable, but it is there.
And it's riding low. I mean, it sits
real
low.
It sits low. Yeah,
but it looks good.
And then, the engine obviously is, goes from 138 horsepower stock. My modified DMC engine back in the day made 200 horsepower with like heads, cams, headers, blah, blah. So they ripped that shit out. Kia Stinger GT, slightly modified turbos. I don't know exactly what this means. He said
they changed from direct injection
reverse
to injection.
Well, no, they said it's a Garrett G25 turbo reverse mount. Now, I don't know what that means, reverse mount, but it means something. And the whole setup is like a Ferrari F40. The architecture is designed to mimic a Ferrari F40. So top mount air-to-air intercoolers. A really neat that intake manifold that we're showing in the photo that looks like a Mustang Boss 302 intake manifold. That was milled from a block of aluminum. Steve Maxwell not only is like really genius at making these turbo kits and stuff from scratch, but he also makes these parts. When he makes a part, he like mills like badging and stuff into the parts so it looks like they would have come from a factory. Like the throttle body he made from scratch, like it says DMC in it with like the part number is like the date that Marty McFly goes back to the future.
Which is a really cool
Which is an interesting
thing.
detail, you know? And then it uses a Porsche 996 gearbox and limited slip diff, which the other problem with the DeLorean is the gearbox, which is from Renault and shared with the Esprit, is a complete piece of shit and would turn to tissue paper with over 250 pounds of torque, or if you try to like launch it or anything. And so they have a 996 transaxle in there, which has, Porsche shifter feel. And like the 996 isn't my favorite Porsche shifter, but compared to the garbage DeLorean shifter, wow. It's really amazing. And so this thing, it sounds like a fucking modified 911 turbo. First off,
it goes crazy,
like a
dude.
motherfucker.
This car fucks. I mean, I didn't drive it, and I
really
still had a great
fast.
day at work. Like watching you and Nick accelerate like in second, and him getting little bits of wheel spin and the back kicking out in a straight line. I mean, this thing hauls.
So
ass.
it runs a quarter mile in 11.6 at 124 miles an hour, and the 60 to 130 time is 8.7 seconds.
Which he said is faster than his modified Ferrari 575.
Well,
right?
we did. I can't remember in Sorted when we were doing Sorted. The 60 to, I think that was literally like close to what the C7 Corvette ZR1 benchmark car did. 60 to 130 is a joke. Wait, what?
I was just looking up 997 turbo seat for reference.
Yeah, I mean, he said he has a modified Gen 2 Viper, and he said this is a second faster in the 60 to 130 than his Viper. And that,
than the Viper, jeez.
That doesn't. Oh, what's that one? 997.2 PDK turbo with a tune, 60 to 130 in 7.4. Mm-hmm. So this is 8.7.
Okay.
Which is not as, but that's like,
that's a crazy fast car.
yeah, that's a modified 997 turbo. This is a fucking fast.
This is a DeLorean
car.
that's
It's a
like
DeLorean.
keeping up.
This thing did
keeping
0
up.
to 60 in like 11 seconds stock.
That's crazy.
Like, it
And
now does a
it's-
quarter mile in like what used to be the 0 to 60
That's
time.
amazing.
And so the only thing that it was that was left shitboxy was like it rattled. And like it's a DeLorean. Like they fucking rattle. There's like John Ward wouldn't try to unshitbox a DeLorean because the basic construction of the car, the fact like the going doors, the fact that it's like a Y-frame fiberglass monocoque with steel body hang over that, like that kind of stuff, like you're never gonna.
There's too much flex built into it.
Yeah.
Just in the construction, in the design. Yeah.
But I've never driven a DeLorean that was actually fun to drive. I've driven ones that look cool, that sound cool. They're cool to park at a car show. It's a novelty to take one to the pub. You know, girls like it. People take pictures of it. Everyone makes a dumb Back to the Future joke. But I've never driven one that was actually engaging to drive and like fun. And oh, by the way, the air conditioning worked perfectly too. Blasting air conditioning, which in a stock DeLorean, even with working air conditioning, it sucks like 40 horsepower out of the car.
Wow.
And kills the throttle response. So you never want to use the air conditioning in a DeLorean, even though the greenhouse just cooks you.
Yeah, because the windows are tiny.
Yeah.
They're a joke. It's
So
like a
this
mail
thing you
slot.
can like mob and still have air conditioning blasting, which is fabulous. And if you look at the interior, other than like something being a little bit different about the shifter, you'd never fucking know. It's got a center exhaust like a 911 GT3.
Sounds good.
It doesn't really
very
drone. It has maybe like a 200 RPM little drone window at like 2,500, but you can rev the shit out of this thing. Red line's at 8,000. It's only making like 9 pounds of boost, so it's not like some insane motor that is really relying on all. It's not like a Civic that's like 50 pounds of boost or something. You know, the Kia motor's got good displacement and good torque, and so it just fucking ripped.
yeah.
And the road I tested it on was not ideal. We had to go down to Temecula, and so I was driving on an unfamiliar road. I was not on like one of the big fast roads that I know really well, where I would carry crazy speed through a corner. There's a lot of blind crests, blind corners, and so I was not about to huck this thing over a blind crest. You know, and it was really just to like have a go and see what it was about. But like, I was so impressed. This thing fucking rips.
It was cool, man. It's real cool.
It was the best DeLorean I've ever seen or driven by a very wide margin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the video is going to be coming out, I don't know, what, 2 weeks maybe?
Probably.
Yeah. Really, really cool. Oh, here's the video of him drifting it. It can drift. It sounds awesome.
Yeah. It sounds like a Porsche. And when it goes by, it's just air and then that rasp in the back. It's really cool.
Does the audience get the audio from that?
They get it through our mics.
Through our mics. Oh yeah. It's not quite Porsche, but it's like I think sounds
it's like
better than a
GTR and
GTR.
Porsche. Yeah,
it
it's
sounds
better
better
than
than a GTR.
Oh yeah.
GTRs have more like whoa. It doesn't have that. It's got like a purer high rev
Well, it's a
sound.
It's a 3.3 instead of the 3.5.
Yeah.
So that might help a little bit. Smaller pistons.
I feel like under 3 liters is where like V6s can sound really good.
Yeah.
You know?
Ferrari and
The
Alfa.
2
know that.
9s,
Yeah.
2 8s, like. But this exhaust setup is very good. It has no muffler, and it's very loud.
That makes
It
sense.
has the wastegate sounds when you're driving it are so fucking great. But like he drove it from San Diego to the Quail and back. You know, they put like 3,000 miles on it, so
It's pretty
fully
tested out.
fully sorted, like
Yeah.
totally drivable. And he's going to be selling it. I think the reason they let me drive it is because they're going to sell it and because they want to use whatever video we made on Bring a Trailer, and that's fine. Knock yourself out. I don't mind if they use our videos for that purpose. And in fact, it will draw more viewers to the videos. So.
Especially because the car was good. You know, if someone approached you with a
Right.
shitty car,
That would be
would
different.
suck. But this was
Yeah.
awesome.
No, this was
What a
awesome.
cool project.
Yeah. This, like, he didn't say exactly what it cost, but I guarantee you it was knocking on the door of $130,000 or $140,000. Because the kind of engineering that you have, the amount of shit in that car that was done from scratch, you know, the amount of like unfucking you need to do with a DeLorean to make it handle properly and stop properly and turn and and get the power down. I mean, just like they replaced the complete powertrain, but in a way that required no modification of the stock engine bay or the shifter location.
And it looks very clean. Like the install in the engine looks really
so clean. So clean. And other than like sitting low, like it looks like a stock car. You know what I mean? Like it's like that Alexander Claudin dude who built the Drift DeLorean, like that's got a wide body on it.
It looks like a circus.
It looks like a circus, and that's cool, like for what that dude is doing, like for a drift car, and he had to put a whole cage in it. You know, this is a street car. This operates as street car.
Yeah.
You know, I'd get in it and drive far. It was fine. You know what I mean?
It takes all the things you didn't like about your DeLorean out of the DeLorean.
Yeah,
you know?
And even though it was like pretty low, it didn't really bottom out until Nick went way too fast over one of those dips.
There was like a dip, flood control dip or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm at it. I had a couple times I was like, oh, and it didn't bottom out even though it was low.
Yeah,
it's good.
It rides pretty low. But just watch out for speed bumps if you buy this car.
It was fucking cool. Somebody should buy it. I don't know if he'll get his money back. You know, I don't know how many lunatics are out there that are looking to buy something like this at a premium, but I can say that if you were to buy this car and you could just start enjoying it now instead of having to be involved in the development of a project or trying to do it yourself. Because, like, there's not a lot of people who would do a better job at this project than Steve.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I mean, you weren't left wanting for anything in this. It's
no.
Done well, it works well.
Yeah.
You've driven it long distance, you've driven it fast, it works in all those conditions.
And even Steve undersold it. Like, he was texting me and he was like, yeah, if I was going to do it again, I would have done it with like a nicer car. Like a nicer example, and like this example has got like 21,000 miles on it. It's like it's not a horrible example. Like I've seen some real shit ones. This one, the interior's in good shape.
Yeah.
The leather's pretty nice.
The exterior looked great.
Yeah, it was clean on the outside. It wasn't like dented and rusty and shitty. It was nice. But I think Steve would have liked to start with a 0-mile car. You know, that would have been as fresh as it could be. But that's because he's nuts.
Yeah.
But I don't think. Even if you had him do the same thing again, I don't think you could get it for less. You know what I mean? Because he'd find more shit to do.
Yeah, well, of course. In version 2, you want to refine some things and improve some things.
But like, you know, I had to do a couple, starts on stop signs that were on steep uphills. Like that was easy. The clutch is easy. Like it had a great, nice feel, you know, and it was actually like very, very good. I was shocked at how good it was. Like, Steve Maxwell and Dean Williams. Dean Williams sold the Volvo P1800 on Bring a Trailer 2 weeks ago.
The red one. The
red one that I did in a video. He got $110K for it, which I think was a record for the Volvo. Like, those are two guys, local who really go fucking all the way. And, not cheap.
Right.
But I mean,
but to do something custom and well is not usually going to be cheap.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean this engine doesn't look factory because it's not factory, but like it looks like it could have.
But yeah, it looks like it could have. I mean, the way the turbos are plumbed, the way all the plumbing works around them, like there's heat shields that are really neat and tidy. It's not really busy. It's not covered in foil where it looks like an aftermarket product.
Right.
It looks really good. It's installed well. It goes like motherfucker.
And I was ripping it on a hot day,
hot,
air conditioning cranking, and the temps were like, no problem. It's good to go.
Well, because the car weighs like 2,800 pounds, so the engine is under stress compared to what it's usually. The Stinger is like 4,000 pounds, so this is easy.
The one thing they didn't do is change the U.S. speedometer for the Euro one.
Oh yeah.
So in U.S. in the early 80s, they decided that they made a law, for those who aren't old enough to remember this, that speedometers couldn't go fast above 85. Now, the cars could, but the speedometers couldn't. And they thought this would discourage people from going faster than 85. This is very stupid, by the way. Whoever thought of this was a fucking moron. And in fact, in Back to the Future, because they didn't use a Euro car, they used an US car, they fucking modified the stock speedometer to go to 95. Because 88 was past the fucking end of it. So in Back to the Future, the car has a 95 mile an hour speedometer, which never existed. I got the Euro one, which goes to 140.
Which the car will never do.
I did 120 in mine.
Really?
Yeah, I did once.
Well, yours was built engine and
I mean,
whatnot,
yeah,
but still,
mildly.
I'm
It took
impressed.
forever to get there,
Yeah.
but this one with the 85 mile an hour speedometer, in third gear, the speedo goes up faster than the tack,
Wow.
which is awesome.
Wait, I wonder if when he tops it out, like,
It goes
is there
past.
it goes past and just winds
I
back around?
personally made it go past the end. I don't know. It doesn't keep going. It just stops.
Okay.
It hits the
In front
bottom
of it
and
just
just
kept ticking
stops.
past,
Yeah.
you know, like a stopwatch.
DeLorean gauges are so bizarre. When you turn a DeLorean off, engine completely off, the tack sits at 1800 RPM.
Sure.
Like if it's idling, it'll be at 800. But when you turn it off, it sits at 1800. And when you come to a stop, it goes below zero. The speedometer goes below zero.
Mate,
Like it goes to where like -5 would be.
how? Where did they
DeLoreans
get
are
these things
stupid.
from?
And like his car, every DeLorean's different. Literally every single one is different. They made so many changes and they just grab fucking parts from wherever. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Every DeLorean's different. So his car is an 81, but it has the power antenna from an 82. And it's an early 81 car, but it doesn't have the hood flap. It has the 82 hood.
So the hood traveled back in time to 81 to be installed?
Yeah. And then the body number is like 3031 and the chassis number is 3030. Like they don't match. Like, it was so fucking funny. And that's normal. That's totally normal for a DeLorean.
Normal for a DeLorean.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
My car was an 83, right? But it was built as an 82 and revinned as an 83 when it didn't sell in 82. But the air conditioner controller was from 81 and the door panels were from 83.
And the tires were from 86.
And and it had the Gen 3 exhaust on it. So like they would just grab shit off of shelves and throw it in the fucking cars.
Because they're making things in batches, right? And not at the same
Such
time.
a fucking weird company.
Very weird.
Yeah. But like 478 wheel horsepower DeLorean. What a great video it'll be.
3 times your stock horsepower.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 47
and a
wheels,
close
like 300.
ratio, that 996 gearbox is a very close ratio gearbox. So you're fucking you're ripping through the gears quick.
It's funny to get out of that and get into the Boxster, which of course has the tall gearing.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to talk about the car too much because you've driven a lot of them, but like, yeah, we were in second gear for pretty much everything.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
25th anniversary Boxster. All you need to know about it is it's a 718 GTS that looks really nice. It's like the it's the luxury edition. It has all the luxury options, as well as like some custom trim pieces, the rose gold accents that are throwbacks to the Boxster concept.
And then the sport chrono and then the adaptive shocks. It's got some sporty stuff and a lot of luxury stuff. Yeah.
If you were going to daily a Boxster, this would be a brilliant Boxster.
It was
to
really
daily.
nice. Yeah.
So nice to drive.
Quiet on the highway too.
Yeah.
Soft top was fine. Really nice car. Comfortable seats.
So we got a video coming out with that. Eagle-eyed viewers and listeners might remember that I actually got one of these for a week, like a few months ago, and unfortunately there was a mechanical with it, and they took it back, and so we didn't have time to make a video with it. So just in case, we made a video on the first day. So in case something fucks up, we have a video. But I don't know why. I don't know what went wrong before. And I don't anticipate that would go wrong again.
Right.
But it's a very, very nice car, and for $100,000, think about what other high-end $100,000 sports cars you can still get with a stick. Not a lot.
I mean, an M4.
Right.
But
I find this car,
F-Type.
if you didn't need the back seat, to be way more enjoyable to drive than the M4 in stick. Like the M3 competition sedan was faster for sure.
Well, it had like the chassis felt more nimble because it's stiffer and it's braced and all that stuff.
But as a manual transmission car, manual transmission luxury car, what are your options?
Oh God.
So few.
Yeah.
So few.
F-Type still?
Nope.
They're just automatic.
No more manual.
now.
All automatic. Yep. You can get the Aston V8 Vantage, which would end up being double the price. A V8 Vantage Roadster would be $200,000
inside or out, in my opinion.
No, and I haven't driven a man. We gotta
let's get a manual Aston.
Let's get a manual V8 Vantage. That's gonna get that on the list. We're trying to figure out what cars we need to drive in October. Manual.
Yeah, the last one I drove
V8.
was 4 years ago, and that was an automatic.
Well, I've driven a couple different variants of the new one. I liked the Roadster. I thought it was a nice car. It's not the kind of thing I wanted to buy. It didn't really speak to my soul per se, but it was a nice package, and I'm seeing more and more of them around LA. So people are getting on board with them. But that's going to be like 180 grand by the time you're done with it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Even if you got a base 911,
I'd rather get a GTC or a GT.
I would too.
Yeah.
If it's an AMG GTC versus the Aston,
Same engine too.
Same engine, but the Mercedes gets the dual clutch. And the Aston has the ZF Auto, which is just not as good in a sports car application as the Mercedes is, especially mated to that engine, which is a rev-happy engine that you need a fast gearbox to keep up with that.
Yeah.
So maybe the manual.
Let's try the manual.
But for 100 grand, I want a sports car with a stick shift.
It's
not a lot better options there.
Yeah. It's really BMW and Porsche.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a high-end Mustang in the 60s, a Shelby. You could get a high-end Camaro ZL1 1LE.
Those are still
they're not really
30 grand cheaper, 40 grand cheaper, and they don't look anywhere near as nice inside. Of course,
not as nice inside.
Good-looking interior. It looked. I think the interior in this car looked like it was worth more than $100,000 when compared to other Porsches that are priced at 140, 160.
Sure. Yeah. I think, it's a lovely little car. Really enjoyable. So there was that. We went off-roading in the two-door Defender.
Yeah.
We found a new trail because the Angeles Forest was closed. And the trail we found was in Jawbone Canyon, which is outside the Angeles Forest. Not as challenging of a trail as the technical trail that we use, which we did the Bronco video on that. It's up today. I thought the Broncos did really nice up that trail.
Yeah, no problem.
This trail was more like sandy. It was like a windy trail that was had some deeper sand in it. It was beautiful. Really nice views.
Yeah, so Jawbone Canyon is near Mojave, and it is a off-highway vehicle recreation area, but you can also obviously drive 4x4s in there. And so people are there with ATVs and dirt bikes, and
they're doing the hill climb with the dirt bikes.
Gnarly hill climbs people do on dirt bikes.
That shit was straight up.
Sandy trails and stuff. So we chose this trail that takes you out of Jawbone and drops you back at the 14, because there aren't that many difficult trails in Jawbone that are sized for 4x4 vehicles. There's a lot of
the steep stuff was for bikes and ATVs. Yeah. But it was and we also did the 110 up the
that
gnarly
was the bigger
trail.
thing. We've done that, and they're very similar other than the wheelbase, but by all intents and purposes, the 90 would have no problem getting up the exact same trail the 110 got up.
Right. The difference is with the 90, 17 inches shorter, a little bit lighter. They retuned the suspension and stuff to adjust for the different weights. You can spec them in really similar ways or whatever. Ours had the fold-up jump seat in the middle, which I was not that into. I don't know why you'd get the short wheelbase with the extra seat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I liked the regular armrest better as an armrest than the jump seat as an armrest. And I think it has, unless you have a very specific application you need to use it for, I think it was limited usefulness. But man, it's a nice place to spend your time, that Defender.
Yeah, very much. I mean, especially because we had it so closely to the Bronco. They're both two-door 4x4s. And the Defender rides so nice on the highway. It's quiet on the highway. The air suspension is tuned very, very well.
Yeah.
Really comfortable. Obviously, then you can adjust the ground clearance, which is sick. And
the powertrain is really slick.
Yeah.
Not a lot of vibrations, no drone from the engine. It's an inline, so it's very smooth. With the electric
48 volt.
The electric 48 volt supercharger, that eliminates the traditional starter motor. So I was more likely to leave the start-stop system alone because when it shuts off, the AC compressor stays on. The power steering still works. And when it fires back up, it's not, it's just, it goes from not on to on. Whereas the Bronco, the start-stop system was really annoying. I disabled it every time I started the car because it was not particularly refined.
And if it's 100 degrees outside and you get to a stoplight, let's say you catch it right at the yellow. You're sitting there for a minute and the AC turns off. That sucks.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to parallel park real quick and then you come to a stop and the engine kicks off, all your power steering gets really heavy.
Yeah.
Got to kick back on. It just adds a little bit of difficulty to some things.
Yeah. So the difference, Defender 90 versus Bronco Outer Banks, like it's probably like $7,000 more to get a similarly spec'd Defender, but like I saw $7,000 worth of luxury in the difference.
Yeah,
the materials, the quietness on the highway. I mean, if you're doing
That
a lot of
alone.
highway driving, that's the Bronco is probably
People
not for you.
commented in the Bronco video, and I remember when we got done filming the Bronco, we said, "Oh, I wonder if the mics are going to pick up the wind noise." Almost like, I hope it does, so it highlights it. It did.
It definitely did.
People heard it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how loud it was. And if you're driving on the highway a lot,
And that was a hard top.
Nicey. Yeah, nicer. Yeah, it's a hard top.
Yeah.
And just even like the window switches in the Defender. The switches in the Bronco are one of the things I feel like are really cheap. They're in the center of the thing, and that plastic feels really inexpensive. I mean, they have to save money somewhere. Defender feels like I don't really know where they save the money because they don't have a really low class or really cheap vehicle, from that company.
It's closer to Range Rover than it is to Bronco, actually.
Yeah.
And even the 90 had the canvas rollback sunroof, which I thought was pretty cool.
Very cool.
And you really could forget very easily that you had a fully cloth roof.
Yeah, it was very quiet on the road.
It wasn't, and there's not like it's not like cloth and then some other hard thing. It's like, it's fucking cloth.
Yeah, it was one single piece when you roll it back. It's not two things. It's pretty cool.
It was impressive. So the Defender first edition was like 65 grand, whereas the Bronco Outer Banks I tested was 57,
something like
56.
that. It was like $6,000 or $7,000 difference.
And so it was I think it was money well spent, to get the nicer experience of the Land Rover.
Yeah.
Although you can't take the doors off and shit like
you can't
that.
take the doors off, and like the fenders on the Bronco come off really easily if you bang them into something, which we recently saw someone do in a G-Wagon. Like, if you're going to off-road a lot, I think the Bronco's a better choice. But if you are driving on the highway a lot and you can swing the price difference, you're going to be much happier driving the Defender.
Yeah. If you're a long transit to the mountains to go skiing or whatever, it's just you're going to be a lot less tired when you get there. Wind noise and stuff like that is tiring.
Yes.
And like I like, we've said this a million times in our videos, like I like off-roading because I can go to the place that I can't normally go on pavement. I'm not a look at this boulder I went over kind of guy. Now there's people who are into that. And so I can't be the independent judge of like that last bit of capability, the climbing over these gnarly obstacles. And like there's channels out there or whatever that can do that, and can really say, well, this one can definitively go where that one can't. But as far as going up a pretty nasty trail or taking a sandy wash or exploring the wilderness, like these are all very capable. But the Defender, I was just like, this is relaxing and easy.
Yeah. Just nice
I like
and quiet.
that.
Yep. It's good. It's a good truck.
Yeah.
And I think it'll go 33 inches in underwater, or wading depth is 33, and the breakover angle was amazing. Like the approach, departure, and breakover is I think right at, if not better than the two-door Bronco.
Yeah. It is. Well, the math says that because they're shorter wheelbase. Yeah. All right. Well, those are the things that we did. Speaking of Broncos, they did leak the Bronco Raptor. There was a leak. So there is a Bronco Raptor. Look, it's got Raptor wheels on it. It'll obviously have, the Fox shocks and all the Raptor-y things and luxury stuff. I've read it's going to be 4-door only, 37-inch tires, luxury options, and probably a bigger EcoBoost motor.
Stronger motor?
Either a 3-liter like the Explorer ST or a 3.5 like the F-150 Raptor. I don't think those motors are physically any bigger than the 2.7. I think it's just inside them that's different.
Oh, I don't know.
I think the external casings are the same.
Wow.
And
So
it's just
it'll be
different.
like 400 horsepower or 450 probably.
It'll probably be way more power than a fucking Bronco needs. So that'll be coming.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I hope we'll get to have a go in that eventually. But we liked them both. But I think if you could spend the extra money, if that's not a huge deal to you, I think the Defender is just a nicer place to spend your time.
Yeah, I agree.
And it'll look good. Especially two-door. The two-door without too much doodads on it, without that dumb box in the rear window and shit hanging off it. It's just classic, nice looking.
Well, and without the box, I mean, I found it really airy and nice when I had to sit in the back seat.
Yeah.
Because it was like those little, what are the windows called? The little portal things on the top?
Oh, the top windows.
Those let in a lot of light. It felt spacious. There was enough room in the back seat for me to sit back there comfortably. It was just a nice place to be.
We're going to get to questions from the Patreon. If you want to be a Patreon member and contribute your questions to the show, you also get things like ad-free listening experience, not just YouTube ads, but the ads that I read. You won't have those. You get to listen to the live shows as soon as they come down. You don't have to wait for Tuesday, Thursday. Get access to the live stream, and that's where we're getting all of our questions from. Last show, people were writing really long paragraphs, and it wasn't great radio for me to read them. So Zach went through and handpicked some questions, and in fact paraphrased some of the longer questions to make for better radio. Before we get to that, I want to send a shout out to Peter from Cypress, Texas, who wrote me a really nice handwritten note about encouraging me to talk more about my anxiety issues and mental health and stuff like that. And with the handwritten note did make an impact. And also I want to send a shout out to Marco, who sent me the original hand drawing of the me and Johnny fighting about Tesla.
Seems great.
Well, I'll put hold this up. This he sent me two drawings. He sent me some 80s supercars and the original sketch of me and Johnny fighting about Tesla, and I'm going to frame that for the studio. I didn't ask for the original, I just asked for a print, but he was nice enough to send the original, and it's got a little sketch, the first sketch.
Really,
and then
what's his Instagram again? He's a good follow too.
I follow him on Instagram, and I'm blanking. It's not written here. His name is Marco Fernandez, and I follow him on Instagram. And if you can find it, Zach, I'm sorry, I forget his handle right now. If it comes up. I don't remember. I think if you look through I'm tagged and stuff, you could probably find it. The things that I'm tagged in, maybe.
I'll find
it. Hang on, Chris. Let's just do it now because it's somewhere close by. Maybe not. Oh, there it is. It is by MFRex. MFRex. You should follow him on the gram. He has some fun car art, animations, and comics and stuff like that. So I think Johnny is selling that as a T-shirt. Johnny asked if Marco if he could sell that as a T-shirt. I didn't feel like selling it as a T-shirt. I just wanted the original to hang right there in the studio, next to the monitor.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. So thank you, Marco. I really appreciate that. Give Marco MFRex a follow on Instagram. All right, to the Patreon questions. What do we have here? David Payne says, "Would you buy a car with an airbag deployment?" No.
Depends on what I'm using the car for.
Fair.
That's my answer.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
I mean, I assume because he doesn't say to turn into a race car,
that it's for a
regular car that I would use in the street. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't. I have the privilege that I don't have to. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can personally afford a car that hasn't had an airbag deployment. If I would say proceed with caution.
Yeah.
Extreme
Find out
caution.
why it deployed. Like I was hanging out with a friend yesterday, and his roommate has a Aprilia motorcycle that was salvaged because the owner in Beverly Hills tipped it over and it fell and got a scratch on the frame, and because that's considered frame damage, it's salvage title. But he's like, you can't find the scratch if you look for it. It's literally a scratch on the frame. So
that's an interesting
if the airbag
exception.
Deployed for like a 5 mile or something, and the frame's not compromised, and you want you can get a good daily on a deal, just know that the insurance won't pay you out, I think, what it would if it was untouched. You just have to know what you're getting into.
There are folks who life hack by buying salvaged cars or cars that other people don't see the value in or whatever. I would just say if you're not knowledgeable enough to inspect that car to the real degree it needs inspecting, make sure you bring someone with you who is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy one, but I could relate to someone who did if it was for a minor reason and it was really fixed competently, yeah. Dan Green, most overpriced in terms of experience, new performance vehicle on sale in North America. So what is a bad value? Oof. Well, they're not going to like this.
I mean, yeah, nobody is going to like this.
The Aston Martin DBS Superleggera has more power on paper than it feels like it has in reality. Specifically, let's call it the Volante because it's more expensive, the convertible. The transmission is that ZF 8-speed, which doesn't feel particularly exotic. And the interior is very nice, but it's $380,000 compared to that Porsche Boxster, which was impeccably made and was $100,000.
Or I think there's a lot of Mercedes products that have a more artistic interior that has a more cohesive design overall, and I don't think Aston has that. Aston has a bunch of different people or a bunch of different looks inside.
Like the DBS was double the price of the GLS 600 Maybach that we drove, with massage reclining limo rear seats and a champagne fridge and hydraulics. You know what I mean?
I mean, they're aimed at a different thing, but I'd say even if you look at that Maybach from the front seats forward, that whole scene looks continuous and beautiful and expensive and cohesive, whereas the Aston doesn't. I agree with you. When I drove the DB11 years ago, I was like, the handling was strange, the interior choices were odd, and for the price, there was just so many other options. So Aston and the Aston Vantage, when I drove it, when it had the automatic, I was like, this transmission feels sluggish, and then it makes the engine feel like it's producing less power than advertised. Yeah,
it doesn't do the engine a service. Although, and I would also add to that, because I wrote it down to talk about it in my notebook earlier, that there's a special edition Nissan GTR that just came out.
T-Spec or something?
T, which is got like throwback colors from the R34, and it's $140,000.
Right.
Stop it. If there is a driving experience that is not worth $140,000, it is the Nissan GTR.
What do you think that one's worth then? Like, what would it be to you?
70,
it's so fast
75, 80.
I think it's like 100. I think it's very impressive dynamically, but sitting in it, that experience of sitting in it, and the dashboard and everything, obviously it's a lot of part sharing, and the design's super old.
And it's a big car that's small on the inside. I don't like when big cars are small on the inside.
Yeah, it seems like it has like armor.
Yeah. Joe, best overlanding or winter beater under $10,000? I mean,
I go Montero.
Sure, Montero. Or
you
could get go ahead.
90s Grand Cherokee. Must have bought one for like a song, and it felt new, and that's a fairly reliable car. Yeah, David Tracy says the automatic transmissions are the weak link in those, but everything else is fine.
Yeah, I mean they're not terrible at all. You could get them with V8 or V6. I would say like 90s Tahoes are pretty stout and reliable. There's been a couple, I called this, there's been a couple at the two-doors on Bring a Trailer recently. A low-mileage two-door Tahoe from the 90s is like a $35,000, $40,000 car now.
You did call it. I remember
did call
that years
it.
ago.
I called it like a year and a half ago.
They're cool looking.
Yeah.
They have a great shape.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, and you can still get less desirable 90s Broncos, which are fine. If it's not a great color combo or whatever. God, I love those two-door Tahoes. Like a 99 Tahoe Sport. Not that one, like that, but like the one with the clad. I actually like the cladding on the bottom better, but you know what I'm talking about. Those two-door Tahoe. Yeah.
It looks like they made the C-pillar almost invisible because of the glass. Yeah.
I like those. Those are cool. Xterras. Nissan Xterras are the kind of things that are, I don't know if they're under 10K. They may not be that low. I don't, the thing about asking for something that's under 10K is, I don't want to be condescending or insulting, but that's not that much money. And at that level, you can get, a low quality car that's in very nice shape, or a high quality car that's in terrible shape.
Right.
There's a lot, and it's a lot of like, well, for less than 10K, how far are you willing to go? You're not looking at a national search, the same way you would for a $100,000 car. And so it also depends like what's in your area. You know what I mean? Like,
and what's popular in your area.
What's popular, yeah. I might get like a fucking RAV4. A RAV4 all-wheel drive, but I don't know if like, if in one part of the country that might be 15K, another might be 7.
Right.
You know, because
in Arizona that's probably 7. Pacific Northwest it's probably 12.
Right.
Right.
Or even like, you know, Outbacks, used Outbacks. You know, they're not. I don't know if they get below 10K, but they're relatively reliable. They've got some ground clearance. They're relatively well made.
They do. My brother bought one for like $6,000.
Yeah,
they're out there.
Yeah. And because it's not the turbo motor, people aren't like blowing them up and fucking tuning them to death.
Just check that head gasket. His had a problem.
Okay, but 10K is a hard number because it's like I don't know what's available by you.
Yeah.
You know, for that. You know, let's see. Adam says, as states look to increase the infrastructure for, can you like zoom in on this, Zach, and make it go to like 200%? Yeah, there we go. Now I can read it better. As states look to increase the infrastructure for EVs, what are your thoughts on installing chargers at interstate rest areas? I mean, I don't see any reason that they shouldn't be doing that. I mean, rest areas are just big parking lots with fucking picnic tables and shitters. You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to see the state, you know, renting. I don't know if the state needs to be in the EV charger business or if the state should be in the rent space to electrify America business. But that seems like a perfectly good use of a rest area.
As long as they have power supplied to them, which I think most of them do.
Of them have lights, you know, or whatever. So there's got to be some kind of power going there. I don't know how much you'd have to work to get how much power out there, but I mean, totally. I think that makes total sense that they should be at rest areas. And I think in certain European countries, they are. You know, we could talk to Kyle Connor, who's road tripping across Norway right now in Tesla, who said pretty much every parking lot everywhere has an EV charger.
That makes sense. For Norway, that makes a ton of sense because they're trying to fund and fuel, no pun intended, adoption.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's a good idea, and I would support rest area EV chargers for sure. Brendan Chadwick, are there any interesting automotive biographies that we would recommend? Yeah. What is it? Drive Like Crazy.
PJ O'Rourke.
PJ O'Rourke.
So good. Really funny.
Cannonball, which isn't really a biography, but it's the Brock Yates, the original Cannonball book.
Also
which
nuts.
is great and insane.
Holy shit.
The Enzo Ferrari biography is like fucking 500 pages, and he doesn't build a car until like page 300. But it's, if you really want to get deep in the weeds with Enzo and Ferrari, I think that's an interesting one. Biographies. I tried to read Jackie Stewart's, and I didn't really like it. It's got 200 pages about bird shooting before he drives a race car, and I like bird shooting, and I still don't want to read 200 pages about it. It was very self-indulgent.
I'd bet any biography on like Bruce McLaren would probably be good.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Anything on a Kiwi?
Read one, but
Kiwis are always the most interesting people. They're always fucking nuts.
Steve Millen probably has a good one.
Let's see. That's some good ones. What else? I mean, it's not a biography, but you know, Go Like Hell, you know, written by A.J. Baim, which is what the movie Ford vs. Ferrari is based on. I would read that. Also, Arsenal of Democracy, which is about how the U.S. automakers pivoted to making planes
in World War II.
Book. It was incredibly fascinating.
Yeah.
Not biographies exactly, but that should get you in in the readings.
I agree with those recommendations. Those would be my recommendations, Brennan. Arsenal of Democracy was really interesting.
Yeah,
really,
also by
really
AJ
interesting.
Baim.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should get AJ on the show if we can.
Should. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, I love AJ. Daniel Berman recently moved to LA from New York. I'm shocked by the amount of time and money I spend getting around in my car. Yeah, buddy. That's why you see people all over LA that have dope whips and shitty cribs. Because, like, relatively speaking, you spend more time in your car than you do in your thing. I've heard nothing but bad things about public transit in LA. Are there any decent alternatives to spending hours in my car anytime I want to go outside of Pasadena? I mean, you said it, man. The public transit system here does suck ass. I love my Vespa, though. I mean,
that is the move.
If you are not afraid of two wheels are good. My Vespa 300 is the cure for LA traffic for me. If I don't have to carry a bunch of shit, if it's just, you know, a backpack, I've got the little cargo box in the back, I've got the underseat storage, I can get night couple big decent sized grocery bags. I could fit a 12-pack of beers in there just for size comparisons or whatever. I could do a load of laundry I could fit in the back of that. So if I don't have to carry too much shit, my Vespa is the jam.
I would say also, depending on your route and where you want to go, there are bike paths that connect huge amounts of LA that run along the river. If it's near you, you could do that with an e-bike or something like that.
E-bikes in Pasadena?
I know that the LA River one stretched all the way up to where Sarah Trimble used to live. I was like, holy shit,
like
I could bike to your house.
right?
Yeah, so it might continue. I don't know. But you could look into that if you had an e-bike.
Sidebar, Pasadena's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
If I didn't have to be on the west side for like all my work-related things, Pasadena is nice. The craftsman homes, the trees, the cute town, it's really nice.
Right next to the canyons.
It's great in Pasadena. I really like it out there. But yeah, to get from Pasadena to anywhere else in LA definitely sucks. And if possible, I recommend a fast scooter. And e-bikes are great for local errand running, and e-bikes are awesome. Vintage Electric took back my e-bike, and they're, in theory, replacing it with their new model, which, believe it or not,
faster.
It fixes the one problem I had with the bike. Not fast enough.
Yeah.
It goes even faster.
What is the top speed on this thing now?
I don't think it's about the top speed. I think it's about the acceleration, because even this thing was geared for 37 miles an hour, and so the 0 to 5 was a little
underwhelming.
Underwhelming.
Yeah.
And so if you're going light to light, it wasn't. You needed like an 1/8 mile run up, and you're just flying.
It was like a rocket car.
It was fucking crazy. But I think they've got a new type of motor that makes more torque. So, and also, it actually, in seriousness, it has a more upright handlebar, which the handlebars were aggravating my elbows. I get tendonitis.
Well, it was shaped kind of like a beach cruiser, but without the high-rise bars.
Right.
You had, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So imagine a beach cruiser shape, but where you have to lean over it like a cafe racer motorcycle. So I want the beach cruiser bars, so I'm not putting my weight. I'm not using my elbows as shock absorbers.
Right.
And I have the same problem riding mountain bikes or like regular bicycles or in certain motorcycles. Is like if I do it for like a half hour or more, I just get shooting pains through my elbows. And you don't need to send your recommendations for treatment. I see people for this. I get EPAT, which is called I don't know what the acronym stands for, but they call it Shockwave, which is an electro-stim ultrasound combo that helps with tendonitis. But new handlebars. Yay. Let's see. Anonymity. What do you think about having a third brake light or other type of indicator turn yellow while adaptive, Super Cruise, etc., autopilot are on? I mean, I actually support that. I would support some kind of indicator that says that this vehicle is being, run on some type of semi-autonomous system.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with an indicator. I wonder if it would need to be a separate light, because people would be seeing a light they're used to doing something and giving it a new function.
The question is worded as like, should the third brake light change color? And I think it should be a separate indicator light.
But that'd be good.
Speaking of which, Zach and I watched some of the videos of the new Tesla FSD update. What a fucking disaster. I mean, first off, I will say that the basics of what the car can do are impressive. Okay? I'll put that out there. The basics of what it can do are impressive. However, the sketchy things it does are really sketchy, and it's been deployed to people that are not running, as Missy Cummings said, operational protocols, standardized routes, logging data. It's not trained engineers. It's just the public. And in one video, I watched one video, and in 3 minutes, it drives into a bus lane where it shouldn't be. It breaks the law by crossing the monorail line in Seattle illegally. It goes back into a bus lane and continues down a bus-only lane. It almost hits a pylon while illegally crossing the monorail lane. And then it makes a right turn but sends it wide and drives fully into the oncoming lane.
Holy shit. And
then a minute later, it tries to make a right turn and almost runs over a pedestrian in the crosswalk.
That's worse than the one we watched where it was in SF.
Yeah.
And it's still like it ran a red light.
This was Seattle.
Changed lanes incorrectly. Okay.
Yeah, and then Zach and I watched another one where it runs a red light. It
stops like a car length after the red light, which was it happened so quickly. I went, wait, did I see that incorrectly? Was that not a red light?
Yeah.
And then it stopped, and the driver was like, okay, it just ran a red light.
Yeah.
And she was aware and watching that there was no cross traffic, and she let it do what it was going to do. Because there were a lot of other times she did intervene because it was in the wrong lane or it was going to stop behind a mail truck or whatever. But she was a little bit unimpressed with what it was doing.
So, like, I can appreciate the technology for the amount of things it does get right, but I am incredibly terrified that this shit is being sold to untrained, unmonitored people and deployed around the public. Just, you know what I mean? With no accountability.
Well, so Torchinsky wrote a great article called on Jalopnik, Why a Tesla Using Full Self-Driving Running a Stop Sign Isn't Necessarily Terrible. And where he goes is these failures highlight how complex driving is.
Yeah.
And at the end, he talked to Argo, and they bring up a really good example I'd never thought of, which is Halloween. And Jason points out, like, on Halloween, kids do not do what they normally do. They don't look like they normally look. They're wandering all over the street. He's like, so this presents a question to people that are making self-driving cars. What should they do? Should the car have a different kind of programming for Halloween? Because you need to think about all of these new parameters that they may not have planned for with the original programming.
Well,
right?
This is what Missy was talking about, right? Top down versus bottom up.
Exactly.
Right? Like the other day I was driving to my friend Marco's house, and a tree was obscuring all but about this much, a 4x6 square of a stop sign. All I saw was the little bottom postcard size square of a stop sign. I knew, based on my other surroundings and based on what I saw, oh, that's a stop sign. But a car that is not programmed for that exact scenario would not recognize that as a stop sign. You know what I mean? And especially because we now know that this whole fleet learning thing is horseshit. If one car fucks up, all the other cars don't automatically learn that happens. That's Tesla would like you to believe that, but it's not true. There's been articles on what is actually logged, how often it sends this stuff back to the system, and it's a very, very small percentage of the data. It's not everything the car is doing all the time. And when when those things are logged, it's not automatically deployed to the entire fleet. Okay, it's a very small percentage of it. So the idea that if one car fucks up, all the other cars immediately learn is absolute horseshit. Okay, it's not true. And so to see these cars that are owned by people in the general public just trying shit, you know what I mean? And these are videos like enthusiastic people who want this thing to work. And they're just putting out these videos of the cars just driving like drunk teenagers.
I'll give credit to the woman that drove in SF. She pointed out everything it did well and failed at.
Sure.
And she was being very upfront and clear.
Sure.
And there were people in her comments on the videos, a lot of them were like shitting on her and calling her out for being against Tesla and progress. And then other commenters like, thank you for being honest and not being Tesla-ratty about this.
Right.
Like that's what testing is here's what it did right and wrong, except that she's
not an engineer. She's a customer.
Right.
She's not running specific protocols on a specific route, on specific conditions, and they're not being logged and it's just like she's just trying shit and being honest about what happens.
Right.
Which is good, great. But like, no offense, she shouldn't be allowed to be using this. Like, I actually saw, counter to this, I'm driving to work today, and I saw I don't think it was Waymo. What company is using Jaguar I-Paces? Is it Cruise? I saw a Jaguar I-Pace with fucking LiDAR all over it. Who is using I-Paces?
Oh, it's Waymo.
Waymo? Okay, so it was a Waymo. It was not, it didn't have stickers all over it, so I couldn't tell. But there's a crosswalk right by my house in Venice, okay? And it's a very busy street. And there's you can press a thing to turn the light from green to blinking red, and cars have to stop. In front of me, like I drove past, right as I drove through the crosswalk, nobody was in it. I was like, oh, self-driving car. And in the back of my peripheral, I saw someone step out one step into the crosswalk and the Waymo car stopped. Like they hadn't really even they didn't change the light.
Was the Waymo driving next to you, or
was driving
opposite
direction?
Okay.
And I was watching it, and it stopped, and I was like, oh. And I believe that it was operating under computer power because the LiDAR things were like spinning. And I was like, oh, that's a very conservative programming there.
Right. It sees intent to cross.
Yeah.
Like, 1 foot off the curb. Okay.
Yeah. And so, look, that's a anecdote. That's not necessarily data, but it shows to me conservative programming and a test vehicle that's being operated by trained engineers running protocols. And if that car ran over that human and killed them, Waymo and their commercial liability insurance would be responsible for that, not the person who leased this Model 3 for $499 a month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's but to go back to the person's question, yes, I believe that there should be some kind of indicator. You know, they made people put Uber and Lyft stickers on the back. Why do they do that? Because Ubers and Lyfts were behaving like taxis. You know what I mean? Like if you see a taxi, you might expect that taxi will quickly pull over somewhere that you're not expecting, right? People
were just doing that.
They were just doing that in Ubers, and people were like, "Why the fuck?" And it's an Uber. Okay,
right.
So it's behaving. Now I know that it can. If I see it behaving like a cab, that makes sense. I'm looking for an address or pull over here or whatever. People needed to know that. It's important information. So I agree. Same thing. People need to know.
Actually, so in Jason's article, he also talks about the nuances of driving, and there's a video of a Tesla that pulls to a stop sign and kind of rolls up through it a little bit and then goes.
Yeah.
And he's like, it brings up an interesting thing of there are laws, and then there are these like laws that are bent a little bit around in the community. So in LA,
like the California roll.
The California roll, or he uses the example in LA where everyone's waiting to turn left on a busy intersection. And a lot of the times you can't turn until that light goes red.
Correct.
And in LA, everyone's okay with 3 cars going through.
Correct.
Cross traffic's fine with it. It's just this 3-car rule. He's like, I learned about it here. Everyone was into it. But when you go somewhere else, you explain it and people think you're insane.
Yeah.
So should a robo-car adhere to that 3-car rule, or would it sit there at the red light and block traffic and never move and cause
how
problems?
Fucking annoyed people.
Right. So that's an interesting thing, kind of like the Lyft thing. We have these things where we go, well, you're not supposed to dive across 2 lanes and stop in front of a person at a curb, unless you're a cab, because we all go, well,
That's
I've
what
called a
cabs
cab.
do.
I've wanted it to come to me. Like that's what they do. So we have these behaviors that blur the laws a little bit. So that's, again, there's so much to navigate in building a robo car or an autonomous vehicle.
Yeah. And until that technology is fully baked, it should only be operated by trained people running scientific protocols and backed by commercial liability insurance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Evan Williams, I like your booze, sir.
Yeah.
Matt and Zach, what are some vehicles you regret selling the most?
I mean, I miss my Crown Vic, but only because I like the durability, but I couldn't park it anywhere. So it's not like... That's not, it didn't appreciate by 3-fold and I missed out. So
I don't really have any. That's not true. I don't have any anymore. I'm not, there's nothing I owned in my past where I go, I'd like to have another one of those. However, I've talked about this a million times. I had an Audi S4 that was in really nice shape that I bought brand new. I drove for about a year and I traded it for that Hummer H1. I shouldn't have done that. I would have gotten at least 2 or 3 more great years out of that Audi S4. It was a really nice car. There was no actual reason that I should have sold it for a stupid Hummer. I did. That was a dumb decision, and I shouldn't have made it. But I don't want to go find another B6 Audi S4.
I mean, my Pontiac in high school was awesome. I would like to have a muscle car again at some point, but I don't regret selling it because I needed to go to school where it snows.
Yeah, I mean, there's
terrible.
people that have to sell cars for reasons that are not that they don't want the car anymore. They need the money. Their spouse makes them get rid of it. It gets crashed, whatever. I've privileged and fortunate enough where if I've ever sold a car, it's because I was pretty much done with it mentally and had moved on mentally. So, yeah. I mean, I do wish I could have kept my Skyline. my R32, which was a very nice car and it was a very clean example. But I got way over market price at the time, and that was the right decision at the time.
Right.
And there's enough of them that if I wanted another one, I could go find one, and maybe I eventually will. Mr. Nailhead, what is the worst really fast car you guys have driven?
I think the 2014 GT500, I would say.
Oh, yeah,
me,
2014 GT500.
I mean, it was fun, but it didn't turn very well. The tires were too small in the back. It felt really front heavy. It just was dynamically meh compared to the new ones.
That's a very good choice because it was built for a very specific set of parameters. Carroll Shelby, before he died, wanted a Mustang that would do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds and would hit 200 miles an hour. That was a Carroll Shelby parameter. And he wanted the magazine cover and he wanted the whatever. And they took the 2011, 2012 GT500, which was brilliant, and changed the gear ratios, changed the engine, changed certain things that made it go faster on paper, but it wasn't any more fun to drive.
Right. It just had a fuck ton of horsepower.
Yeah, and it didn't stop that great, and it didn't turn that great, and yeah. So I would say that's a good one. The 2014 GT500. Yeah. Troy Vaughn thinking about purchasing a 718 Spider with a manual or a 992 Carrera S cab with a manual. Does the tall gearing in the Spider hurt the experience enough to justify the 992 Carrera S as a better choice? No, I don't think the gearing hurts the car. I think, the audience dwells on the gearing thing more than we do. We're really splitting. We're really nitpicking. If you want to nitpick one of the best cars ever made, then that's what you can. That's us looking for a negative thing. It only really matters when you're zinging the car to red line. Like when you drive around on the highway, on back roads, and if you're shifting at 6 instead of 8, you can be in the gear that you want to be. I don't think those are the differences. If the 992 Carrera S cab has a 7-speed, it has a turbo power band. The 718 Spider has an NA power band with a 6-speed. So
it's a different experience.
It's a different experience. With a turbo motor, you can use that punchy mid-range and you don't have to rev it as high. That is more of a difference than the gear ratios. That and the Carrera S is a much bigger car physically.
Yeah.
The Boxster is a smaller car. It doesn't have the back seat, but the front seats have just as much room in either car. It's just a smaller car on the road.
I would go Spider because we don't know how long a car like that will exist.
Right.
With this NA engine that's awesome and it's a stunner.
Yeah.
They're going to keep making 911 cabs, in whatever form they end up being in.
Yeah. I have videos of both of those cars, 718 Spider and 992 Carrera S. So you can go see what I say. You can go listen to the engines and hear what I have to say about those cars. But I don't. The gearing wouldn't be what makes me choose one over the other. I wouldn't buy the Carrera S over the Spider if I didn't need that back seat for something.
Right.
Drew Wegman is into the Patreon format. Thank you very much. I'm a one-car guy, but I want to learn to drive stick. Should I? 3 choices. Buy a manual beater to learn on. 2, lease something with a stick. Or 3, try to get in and out of something that will retain its value. Interesting choices. The way to drive stick is to force yourself to do it every day.
Yeah.
The idea of buying a beater that's manual because you're afraid of damaging the clutch in a nice car, I understand the rationale. But unless you want to actually make yourself drive that beater every single day for like a year, I would skip it.
And if you're trying to learn the skill, which you will very quickly, you're not you're probably not going to destroy it. So then
True.
you have this thing, you're like, I bought something disposable that you probably won't trash, but you're going to probably be bummed out you're driving a piece of shit.
I think the idea of leasing something with a stick is a good idea because, first off, clutches are tougher than you think they are. So the way a clutch works is it's made of a material that has a fail point, and the fail point is based on heat. Okay, so you have a spinning thing and you have a fixed thing, and you slowly clamp the things together, and the spinning thing makes the other one spin, right? If, let's say the fail point, I'm making this up, but let's say the fail point is 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. In your average driving, let's say this thing never gets over 500 degrees Fahrenheit if you're a good driver. If you're just learning and you ride the clutch a little more than usual and it gets to 1,000 Fahrenheit, that really won't cause any premature wear, because the way these properties of the material work is, if you've got, let's call it a red line of a red line of an engine is a perfect example. Imagine your clutch has a red line like the engine. With an engine, if the red line is 6, if you put this thing at 5 for all fucking day, you will do no damage. But if you get it to 6,500 for 5 minutes, you're going to blow it up because the material will fail at that point. Okay? Same thing with a clutch. When you're learning to drive, you're not going to be dumping the clutch from high RPM, which would create that heat, which will smoke the clutch. The worst thing that happens is you probably stall the car, which is not actually that bad for the car. It's a little bit jerky and it feels a little embarrassing and you feel kind of sheepish doing it. But stalling a car, even if you did it 20 or 30 times in a half hour, is not actually doing any real damage to the car.
If it did, my dad's cars would have shattered to pieces when I learned to drive stick.
Yeah, what'll damage a clutch is really riding it while giving it a lot of throttle and really building up that heat.
Right.
So when you're learning to drive, do it gently. Don't fucking rev the thing up and start dumping the clutch and riding the clutch and doing things that you know will build up heat. That's how you make a clutch fail. So I like the idea of leasing something with a stick that you will be happy to drive every day for 3 years. And even if the clutch were to get 10% more worn or 15% more worn than if you were already an expert, by the time that matters, you're giving the car back.
Right. Yeah.
And so,
because if you get it, and if you get into something collectible like you mentioned S2000, then you are going to be more concerned about driving it, one, frequently. Two, you're going to be really concerned about driving it at all and maybe zinging the clutch. And if you don't know how used that clutch is, or if it's already worn in, or if it's about to break,
right,
and that happens with you, now you have to get this thing repaired, which costs money.
Right. And his last point, any specific manual transmissions I should avoid, a la the MT82. Unless you are experienced and have the skills and have tried a bunch of different transmissions, the MT82 issues will not apply to you. The MT82 issues only come up to me when I'm driving it in a sporty situation, and many people will argue with me that they're issues at all. I think they are. But I would say don't buy a big torque car. Like, I wouldn't get a Camaro SS or a Mustang GT or a Challenger with a stick as my first stick car. I'd buy something on the lower end of the torque spectrum because, like I said, you don't want to be building up that heat. And one of the ways to build up that heat is to do big torque launches. And if you talked about a Corolla or a Civic, that's a great example.
Right.
Or a Mini.
Yep, that'd be great.
A Mini would be a good one. A Fiesta ST if you want to go, used, if you don't want to lease it or whatever. A Golf GTI, a regular Golf. These are cars where you've got enough power to have a little bit of fun, but you're not building up that heat from the torque. And you won't, accidentally spin out if you dump
Also
the clutch
that.
a little bit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
also that.
Too. Nick G, any plans yet to drive a Rivian? I've asked. I don't know what their deal is with Motor Trend. I assume cash has changed hands, and that's why there's exclusives all up and down the wazoo with Motor Trend. But I said that, they invited me to some kind of tech presentation, and I said, I don't really care about that. Can we have one to drive? And it seems like nobody has gotten to drive one that isn't somehow on the inside.
Yeah, the first customer car roll off the line, and it's always, I put customer car in air quotes because whenever the first of something that's
it's
very
probably
special,
like an employee or something.
Or, an early investor or something like that. So it's probably going to be a little bit before press trucks happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested.
Of
It
course.
looks very promising.
Really cool.
Yeah. But we don't have one on the schedule. We have asked, but they have not given us any hard yeses yet.
And the only people we've seen besides Motor Trend test it was like
Emmy Hall.
But that was like a development truck, doing a bit of a PR thing, driving like off-road. So I think they have those test mules, and then they have whatever the special Motor Trend thing is. So
same thing with Lucid. I asked Lucid when I could drive one, and they were like, not yet, but soon.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Also, I asked about Blackwing. They don't have any cars in California. GM has no Blackwings to drive right now. We're waiting on that, but believe me, anything that is exciting, we have already asked.
Yeah,
we have.
And we want
I promise
to
you,
drive.
It's not like we forget about this shit.
Yeah.
So anything that's new and exciting, whether it's electric or gas, or whether it's a sports car or a truck, we've asked, and so the answer is not always yes. Anything else, Zach? Before we get out of here?
Nope. I think that's it. Unless.
All right.
That's all the pre-selected ones.
All right. Well, thank you to all of our Patreon members for submitting their questions. And I think what you did, going through and paraphrasing is definitely the move.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to make the best radio out of what we're doing here.
So I think for the patrons, we can't guarantee that we'll answer every question because there are hundreds of you and there could be hundreds of questions. But we're going to post the live show the day before. We're going to say there's going to be a live show tomorrow. Put your questions here. We'll look through them and we'll find ones that we think are interesting, that will foster good conversation. We'll paraphrase them if they're a bit long, try to be detailed but concise.
Right.
And we'll do what we can.
Yep. We've got, Taylor Hull? Is that Thursday?
Taylor Hull is on Thursday.
Thursday, and then Don Osborne on Friday.
Yeah.
For the live folks, and for everybody else, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.